of a writer, a professional writer who knows how to ask the right questions to help you to get your story out. And also to support you, because one of the things that I learned, I was working with a ghostwriter, and they weren't willing to go there with me. Like when I was triggered by certain emotions, they didn't know how to stay, the course. And so I had to let that person go. But the point is, you will get help along the way if you just get it started.
Right. Just start doing it. The biggest part of it, of anything, I believe, in life is just to start. And as you continue to go and continue to go in the process of it, you will learn and you will grow and you will become better at it. I don't think you become worse. You'll become better. Absolutely. Because you're working with people, learning with other people, and you really make some good points. And you answer that question wonderfully. So hopefully people are taking notes because that was some good information. So we talked about this, and you mentioned this earlier, and I wanted to go back to this. What is achieving intentional transformation? It's 3 words that are like packed into that. But what does that mean exactly?
Okay. So going back to the question that someone just asked, the achieving intentional transformation is really a focus. It's a focused journey. And the question about where do you get started, this is what this particular initiative is intended to do, to help people to get unstuck. It's a step-by-step course of action that will result in any individual, whether it's a woman who is, wanting to rise from, abuse, or a team who's looking for help with navigating change in an organization. It really provides a step-by-step. And I use the acronym THREAD as part of this whole process. And if you want me to walk you through what that looks like, I'm happy to do that. The T, would you like me to share with you?
Yes, definitely.
Okay, great. So the acronym THREAD, again, the name of my book, and I was inspired to also develop a tool that would go along with the book to really help people. It's a 6-step roadmap to help you to achieve intentional transformation. So step 1 is T, think. Think of actions you can take to inspire yourself to, in the case of the abused woman, to talk to God about the pain that you are actually experiencing or the pain in your past. I want people to ask themselves, what outcome do I want to achieve? That's step 1. So you got to think, what outcome do you want to achieve? Step 2, H, harvest, hold, and honor. Harvest your actions and hold yourself accountable to becoming, to honoring, to becoming this woman, this person that you were created to become, and also to honor the value in your past experiences. Ask yourself, what have I learned so far? Step 3, the R. R for release, then rise and recognize. Release fear and regret. And rise to knowing that it's not your fault. What you've gone through, it is not your fault. You're not at fault. So rise to recognize your worth. Ask yourself, what do I need to let go of to be able to move forward? Step 4, E, enlist, embrace, empower. Enlist allies to support you to embrace your purpose and become the woman or man that empower others to do the same. Ask yourself, whom should I connect with? Step 5, A, adapt, allow, aspire. Adapt new mindsets and behaviors and allow yourself to aspire and make a difference in the world. So ask yourself, what new habit do I want to start? And the last step, which is step D, dream, develop, design. Dream differently. Develop your gift and design your life with intention. Ask yourself, what is my next step? So that is what the Achieve Intentional Transformation is all about, is to really provide a step-by-step course of action that will result in the woman reclaiming her worth, living free of all restraints that would prevent her from experiencing true freedom, true happiness, and a close personal relationship with God.
That is awesome. And that is even more awesome how you broke that down, which you maybe, or if you're thinking of doing an audio book, you should definitely do that if you haven't decided if you want to do that yet, because your voice, hearing you explain it, I think is also great for people listening, those that are driving around and hearing this. It is definitely giving them inspiration, and just knowing that you can do it. You can do it. You can achieve that intentional transformation like what you're talking about.
Absolutely. And the other thing, too, is that, I mean, we women, we are such powerful creatures, and I think we underestimate that, right? And so I want to see women emerge as vibrant and these widely creative masterpieces of God's unconditional love, because that's who we are. That's who we are. And you know, one of the things I thought about as I was preparing for our conversation today, you know, it just kept going over in my mind that, girl, you fell. You cracked. But you didn't break. And the fact that you didn't break, girl, get up. I'm like, get up. You know, I think like, get up. Get up.
Right.
Get up. I wanted to rise. I wanted to rise. Yeah.
Definitely. Man, inspiration coming out of your voice right now on this show. Thank you. So we really kind of talked about the concept of it, but was there anything else that you kind of wanted to add about how it came about, and then anything further on the purpose of the book?
Sure. So the trigger emotional part of this, all of this, is I am a survivor, as I said before, of severe bouts of sexual, emotional, and unfortunately spiritual abuse, as well as Bell's palsy, and finally a stroke, a close near-death experience at the age of, all of this happened before I was 40 years old. I love to find healing and hope in the midst of tragedy. And these experiences, believe it or not, pushed me. Excuse me, I'm getting a little bit emotional here.
No problem.
But they pushed me in a close relationship with God and transformed my life in a way I never thought possible. I remember when I got the stroke, I thought that only old people, the elderly got stroke. I didn't know at 33 that I would have experienced a stroke. And I felt at the time that it really came to wipe out my brain. That's what I thought, because when you suffer a stroke, it severely impacts your ability to mobilize, right? So your hands, I was paralyzed on the right side. I remember my brain used to feel like it was like a pretzel that was being twisted, and I couldn't talk. And that's why I tell people to get your phone, like your smartphone work for you, because that was what helped me. I was determined. I was so determined because I have 3 kids. I'm a single mom raising 3 children, and So the experience pushed me into this close relationship with God. And as I recovered, I ultimately discovered my life purpose. And I've since dedicated myself to helping others by writing this book. So the purpose of the book, as I said earlier, is to help women to discover the power within themselves, to move beyond the pain of the past, and to live in freedom. I know it's painful because I still get choked up just thinking about everything I've been through. And so this book offers these inspiring stories of trauma and transformation. And I've weaved these beautiful messages around overcoming and rising above unfair life experiences to making the most of transformation and choosing to live life intentionally. Now, how I've structured the book is that each chapter will present the story of a woman or women from the Bible that face a relevant challenge, including how God viewed the challenge. Next, I share my own heartbreaking story of abuse and what thread, quote-unquote thread, it caused to come into my life and what God did to transform these horrible experiences into a story that would glorify his love, power, and individual care for all of us. Then I invite readers to engage in this step. Going back again to the thread, you got to do the work. So I engage them, in the step associated with the chapter. I walk them through the exercises and provide examples, but they must do the work and take the step forward towards their own healing. It's a personal decision. Now, let me say, it will be hard, as no one wants to look at the ugly backside of a quilt in progress. But to the listener, the reader that's listening today, I want to say, if you want to get to the beautiful covering or finished product, you must be detailed, no matter how ugly. You've got to face the truth. You've got to face what you've gone through. You've got to face it. And we must be a seamstress in our own life quilt. And we must take steps to rid ourselves of those things that keep us from our potential and to having this oneness with God. And I believe we're living in a time, it's an awakening period in our history. And to me, it makes sense that we are connecting together, not over wounds because we want to lament. There'll be some crime, but we're going to move on. We're going to move ourselves forward. And it may take someone a month or several months to complete one step, but never mind the time, as healing is still within reach. And this is one time where the quality of work that you and I, that we perform, to the woman that's listening or the man that's listening, the work that we perform at the start will fully determine the healing and the oneness that we achieve at the end. And finally, let me say, I will show readers how to stitch everything together, right? And provide a pattern for them to quilt a bright future. And also what I love about this book is that I have interspersed some surprises along the way. I offer poems and prayers that will help to see them as they're going through the work. And so I want to say, don't worry about crying. Don't worry about having these remorses. Don't worry about questioning yourself. Just know that when they take the action for themselves, that in the end, they will heal.
Definitely. And that's amazing, because a lot of the times the process is always, and a lot of times it's hard. It is difficult. It is not easy. It takes time. And we live in a microwave society. We want it to happen now. We want to be over something now, but there is a process, and there's beautifulness. That's probably not a word, but there's beautifulness in the process.